So we are taking a look at Nomad Idle, and I'm going to jump straight into this one. And I'm going to say that it's a bad game because normally I play a few 1 hour sessions of a game, then I leave it for a while and go back to it. Whereas if you look in the top left corner of the screen, you're going to see runtime, and this was running for 8 hours straight. I just could not bring myself to come off this, and I think it's a little bit of a guilty pleasure playing idle and clicker games. And I say that because there is a game, a lot of you are probably going to know it, but there's a game called Clicker Heroes, and I have over 320 hours in that game. So I've spent a lot of time playing idle clicker games, and I absolutely love them. And Nomad Idle, what you do is you start off with, it's different to a clicker game. You're not just sitting there clicking. This is an idle game. Your dude's going to run around attacking enemies, killing them, earning XP, gathering materials, so on and so forth. And you start this one off with very basic attacks. You're dealing minimal damage, and you have multiple areas you can go to. So you'll start in Greenwood, then you go to the Overrun Village, then there's like the Rat's Nest. There's a bunch of different areas you can go to. And what you have to do is kill the enemies. You get a certain amount you have to kill, then you move on to the next stage. You have to get through 50 stages, and after you've done that, you unlock the Void, which is a lot more difficult, and there's some restrictions compared to the normal version of that level. And the game slowly builds you up to unlocking different things like skills, like companions or summons as they call them. So you start off, you're doing your basic damage, you will eventually start getting equipment or gear. And say for an example, you've got a chest piece, you might need to gather hide and cloth so that you can upgrade that chest. And that's going to give you, say for an example, extra max health. It might give you health multiplier. And there's a lot of different gear you can eventually get your hands on. And then as you make more progress, you're going to unlock tier 2 materials. Then you'll eventually get tier 3, 4 and 5. And what you need to do in this game is push it as far as you can, and then you will go through Ascension. What you need to do to get Ascension points though, because basically when you go through an Ascension, you've got this like permanent upgrade tree, and you can put your Ascension points into it, which makes the future runs easier to do. It just makes them go by a lot quicker. But in order to get these Ascension points, you need 100,000 of each tier of material. So if you've got 100,000 tier 1 materials, that's the equivalent of 1 Ascension point. And some of the Ascension skills are, I think one at the very top of the tree is like 15 Ascension points. So you do need to grind this game. You do need to farm materials. I found myself quite a lot of the time, say for an example, I could push it to stage 17. I found myself going back to stage 8, stage 9, because of farming certain materials in order to upgrade gear pieces, which would make me stronger. And then you also get companions or summons. You start off with a fox, and there's a bunch of different ones you can unlock. I eventually unlocked slime. I think there was one more I unlocked, but I kept with the fox because your summon is going to earn XP for every second you have it active. And by the time I had unlocked companion or summon 2 and 3, I was already like level 6 or 7 with the fox. So I just kept the fox on because it was a lot stronger. And then you also have skills. You can turn these off if you want to. You can have them running at a very low level. But I'm going to say these are some of the most powerful things you're going to get in the game. While I was dealing like 500-600 damage with my normal weapon, some of these skills are dealing like 2,500 to 3,000 damage. But they do consume a lot of mana because you have mana as well as your health. And every attack besides the basic one is going to cost you mana. And before you even get the skills, you have your main attack, then you have 2 extras. One costs 1 mana, one costs 20. But the good thing about this game is you can, like, the 2 main skills you get besides your like actual weapon, you can right click these and turn them to auto, so that it automatically uses those skills without you needing to use them, or uses the abilities, attacks, whatever you want to call them. So what I did was I got my mana regen built up to 21 per second, so that every time I was using the 2 like abilities on auto, I wasn't consuming any mana. It was regenerating by the time those skills were used again. And then your other skills come in, the ones that are dealing like 2,500 to 3,000 damage, and these ones do consume a lot of mana, and as you're using them, they're earning XP, they're leveling up, and that is going to consume more mana. So it got to the point of the game where I was like pretty much always on empty mana, But there are lots of different ways to improve your mana regen, because you've also got a list of all the beasts, and when you go through the first 10 stages, they're all tier 1 beasts. They go tier 2, 3, 4 and 5. So when you're on stages 41 to 50, you're going to be dealing with tier 5 enemies. They're a lot stronger, they're going to hit you harder, but when you have killed a certain amount, you're also going to get buffs. So you've got the leveling up because you have stats in this game as well. You've got the gear pieces, which you can farm the materials to upgrade. When your gear pieces get to level 9, they are removed off the list. That is that gear piece complete. And then you've also got essentially the Beast album. And say, for an example, when you've killed 10,000 tier 1 enemies on stage 1, you are going to have completed that enemy at that tier, so you'll have the max unlocks for it, and you can get cooldown reduction, you can get like mana regen, extra health, extra mana. There's loads of different things to do through the Beast album as well. And then you've got objectives, you've got achievements, there's like a lot to this game. It's not just, I'm going to leave it here playing on its own and not do anything. As well as it being an idle game and giving you the ability to go idle whilst it plays itself, you've also got a lot of stuff you need to do to build your character up so that you can make progress. As I said with the stats, every time you level up, you'll get a stat point. What I really like about this is instead of having to always go in to the stat menu and pick a level, what you can do is just press a little button, and every time you level up, the game will automatically put a point into that stat. And you have like strength, you've got wisdom, so you can buff things like your health, your mana regen, your damage, your summon speed, your move speed, crit chance. There is a lot to the stat tree as well. And whilst you're playing, there are main goals too. You'll start off with very simple things like saving up 100 tier 1 gems, then you'll have 500 tier 2 gems. And then you'll have like clear stage 30 of the Peridot Coast. But whilst you're doing the main sort of goals and the main quests, you're also going to have some that you can discover. So there will be a couple like X marks the spot. You have to go to a certain location and find the massive red X on the beach. So you travel to Peridot Coast, which is the 4th area. You go to you find the red X's on the floor, click on them, and that is going to reveal extra sort of quests. And then you'll get things like pay this person, the mysterious stranger, pay them a certain amount of coins. They're going to give you even extra gear pieces. So there is lots and lots to do in this game. It's not just at the first moments of playing, it's very, very overwhelming. The UI is cluttered. You can turn things on and off to make it a little bit more visible. You'll have, for an example, an activity log on the right hand side. I kept that off the entire time because it basically just says like when you level up. But you've also got a loot log, which is going to be very helpful for finding out when you're getting bits of loot. But if you don't want it there, you can disable that too. And then if you don't want any of the UI active, they do have a handy little button on the bottom left where you can actually disable the entire UI. So you can just basically just play the game with no UI, then you just click that button again, it turns the UI on. But it will be scary when you first start playing because there are so many different menus and things, and it just doesn't explain any of them at first. Like, you are going to have to jump into this game and learn everything. But it is an idle game, so it's not difficult at all. When you've unlocked a new feature, it will explain what that feature does. If you hover over something, it will tell you what that is. It's just at first glance, it can be a little bit overwhelming. But this, for an idle game, it's going to cost you, I think it's around £8 or something. I think it's like £7.65. So it does have quite a high price tag for a game of this style. But I'm also going to answer the question, is it worth buying? I'm going to say absolutely yes. To sit there and for me to play a third of a whole day in one session, I was taking breaks and stuff in between as an idle game. I was letting it play itself out for actually quite a lot of it. But to have that game open for 8 hours straight is not something I typically do anymore. So yes, Nomad Idle is absolutely worth grabbing. It's not going to cost you loads and loads of money. And if you're into this sort of game, you can spend hours and hours and hours on this game. And with me being 8 hours in, I still hadn't ascended at that point. So I could have gone through, I could have fully maxed out all of the tier 2, because I nearly got through all of the tier 1 gear pieces and stuff within that time. But I easily could have just carried on doing the tier 2 stuff, then move on to tier 3, 4, 5. And then after I'd cleared out all of the different areas, all the void versions of those areas, they only have 10 stages, but I could have cleared all of those out, then I could have ascended, done it again and done it faster. There's a bunch more quests and stuff for me to do. This game could probably easily go on for 20-30 hours plus. And that is a game that's going to cost you less than £10. So I'm going to say it's worth playing Nomad Idle. And we are going to leave that video there. Let me know your thoughts and stuff about this game in the comments. And I'll see you guys in the next one. I hope you enjoyed it.